We are here backpacking into the mountains. We've never built a snow shelter before to stay in overnight, so this is a brand new experience for us. And it's snowing on us right now. So we're gonna see how this goes today. It's gonna be awesome. I'm with two of my boys. It's 11 a.m. so we've got about 6 hours of daylight, I'm hoping. Where we are at, it gets dark around 5 o'clock, but we're also in the canyon. My wife was able to get us snowshoes this week on Facebook Marketplace for a screaming deal. And I've wanted snowshoes forever, so this was a great excuse to get them. Hiking in the snow is no joke. We've been going for about 30 minutes now. I don't know how far we've gone, and it's still snowing on us. What's easier to walk on, the road or the field?
Road, because the field up to my knees. Also, if you fall, you're basically dead.
Dumping snow on it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't die! Woo!
Since it's still snowing like crazy right now, our first priority is obviously to build a shelter, but we don't want to get all of our stuff wet. So we're gonna put our sleds down, put our backpacks on top of it, put our tarp on top of that so our gear doesn't get wet. We've been walking around trying to find a spot where we think we found lots of firewood. Luckily we found a spot that's close to a river as well. And we're backed up to a mountain, so we know the snow is not gonna come behind us. So I think this is where we're gonna camp, and it's dumping snow on us right now.
You walk like in a penguin, kind of.
Now we got everything covered up. Boreal 21-inch. This saw got a lot of awesome reviews. We're gonna go test it out. This thing rocks, man. These branches behind me are all brown and dead, and they look like they've been protected quite a bit from the snow. So I'm going to use these as our fire starter. The idea is we're going to get this fire as big as we can and just melt all of this snow. Keep it this way, and then when we get the coals, we're going to move the coals over this side. We've got a billowing fire right now, and so we're just gonna find whatever sticks we can that have snow on them even, and we're gonna put those on top of the fire that's already going. That fire will thaw out and melt all of the snow and ice, and then once that dries out, it'll keep the fire going. Even a lot of this stuff that's dead, I can break off and put them on top of the fire that's going already. We put a couple logs on the back to try to radiate the heat towards us. It's also acting as a little platform to put all these logs. These had some snow on them. So we're keeping these here so that they're close to the fire so they dry. This is my pathway to get some more logs. We're making a little log cabin shelter. Found the jackpot of all branches, this dead tree. So I've been taking all these branches off. We built up the edges. Now we're getting all the snow out of it. Got the tarp over it. Hopefully that should hold up better and keep us warm. I'm just trying to close off the back end of our shelter by putting some snow on any of the air pockets. We are starving because we've been working so hard. So we're gonna make a little snack. We got 2 Hot Pockets, and my other son has a personal pan pizza. I had to put 2 tarps up, one on top of the other one because our first one had some holes in it from the fire. So we're just trying to clear out all the snow. So we're not sleeping on top of the snow. We're gonna sleep on top of the sleds. And once again, it is snowing. I don't think it has stopped snowing. It has slowed down the snowing, but it has not stopped snowing the entire time we've been out here. Good thing I have this beard, it keeps me warm, except for my hair. We've got a ton of coals and we've got some logs that are dry by the fire, but I wanna save those until the end of the night when we need them, and we're gonna cook our steaks. I need to go find some more logs. This is a lot of work. The only problem is you have to close your eyes every time you break one. It doesn't make good firewood, but it allows the fire to burn hot so we can put our bigger logs next to the fire, and they're relatively easy to grab. So far we've done pretty good. We've made some mistakes. One thing is for sure, this saw is a lifesaver. Trying to do all this with a hatchet or something would just be miserable. Snowshoes are a definite must out here. That's good for now. It has snowed non-stop on us today. It's been quite a challenge to stay dry. Good thing we brought extra clothes to sleep in tonight. Oh yeah. Whoa. It's 5:18, so it's gonna be dark really quick. So we're trying to hustle and get all this firewood cut up. We are cooking our steak on top of our shovels. We might even try one in the coals to see how it goes. And then we got homemade bread and some other things depending on our appetite. We're gonna try some Outdoor Boys homemade bread. We kneaded it last night, let it rise in the fridge. I've never done this before, so this is definitely a new experience for me. You can just flatten it out, make it kind of like a little pizza. We've got our shovel on top of some coals. Ooh, we need to get the honey butter out. And put this on top of the shovel, let it cook. I'm also gonna try one on top of the coals, see how that does to compare. The bread and the steak on the coals, steak on the shovel. We also got the honey butter warming up. Hot bread during camping is amazing. Now I'm gonna try it with some honey butter on there. Oh yeah. Where has this been all my life? This is amazing. Our steaks are almost done, so we're gonna cook this rice. We've got some basmati rice. Now I've got tikka masala on basmati rice and a ribeye steak. I can honestly say this is my first time having curry on a campout. Time to clean up. This is one advantage to camping in the winter. Very easy to clean up your stuff. Goodbye, tikka masala. It's 7:20 right now, and it's snowing a lot still. Hopefully we won't get too wet. We made our shelter just big enough for us to sleep, but if the snow decides to fall, then we might get a little wet on our feet. I got this pad when I became a scoutmaster for a couple years. Figured if I was gonna be sleeping on the ground for so many campouts, I should at least get a nice pad. And this thing is done super well. It's about 32 degrees right now. It's 8:30 at night. It's snowing still a little bit. Got a fire with a bunch of logs that are dried out. Hopefully they will stay dry. I might have to stoke the fire once in a while tonight. Both of my boys have toe warmers and body warmers on their back, also hand warmers. So hopefully that will keep them warm. My socks are steaming so bad. Got some toe warmers. We're also gonna put these on. Those bigger logs caught fire really easy. We're so tired tonight because of all the work we did to build that shelter and keep all the firewood. We'll see you tomorrow. Wish us luck.
It's 7:45 in the morning. I slept okay. It's snowing again. Probably woke up 4 or 5 times to stoke the fire and keep the coals hot. Body warmer was awesome. The toe warmers were awesome. The toe warmers kind of sucked getting in and out of boots, they would just crumple up and they would stick to themselves. So I took those off after a few trips up to stoke the fire. What was really awesome though is this little handheld heater. It's rechargeable. We've had it for a couple years now and we use it when we go sledding a lot. And I just put this on my chest and it kept me pretty warm. So we're gonna go stoke that fire, get it going, and cook some breakfast. Luckily our coals were still pretty hot from last night, so we didn't even have to really stoke the fire. We just had to put dry stuff on it. Now we're cooking, even though it's snowing. It didn't snow too much last night. A light skiff of snow on our tarp. Here's our snowshoes. They got a little dusting on them. Thanks to this big ponderosa pine tree, we put a bunch of branches underneath here. We knew that the top ones would get a little bit of snow on them, but the bottom ones underneath it wouldn't be too bad, and we could use those for the fire this morning. We put a couple branches on top of our shelter just to keep the tarps from blowing around, and that worked pretty well. I only got woke up by the tarp once. Talk about walking in a winter wonderland. Huge ponderosa pine trees. Since we're not staying another night, we don't need these long pieces to help radiate the fire and the heat towards us. So I'm gonna cut these up and put them in the fire. Putting logs like this one next to the fire works so well. I've never tried this technique before. Just putting a bunch of logs next to it so that it melts all the snow and gets them dry was incredibly effective. Definitely a trick we're gonna use from now on. The only trick is that you have to make sure to rotate your logs. Maybe like flip them around 180 degrees or move the ones that were outside to the inside and vice versa. That way it keeps all the logs from getting too hot because some of them caught on fire. All right, temperature this morning, 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. This machete works really well to take all the bark off of these branches. I was curious about how sharp this was actually gonna be. It's actually made me want to get another one for our next trip. My son was bugging me all the time if we could get a machete. And he says machete because it's like Nacho Libre. It's really held its weight throughout this whole camp out. I'm actually pretty pleased with it that I almost want to get another one because it's been so easy to use. The only downfall is it gets really heavy in your hand. So I'm wondering if there's a better, lighter version of it. But probably one of the coolest things that happened on this camping trip was one of my sons said, yeah, on our next winter camping trip, we should do this. Talk about awesome dad win right there. The other super nice thing about using snowshoes, this is about 2 feet of snow right now. Once you blaze a trail with your snowshoes, it makes it very easy to walk around in normal boots. We're gonna try 2 different ways of cooking cinnamon rolls this morning. One on the shovel, on top of some coals. Oh, the weather outside is frightful. And then we're gonna try putting them on a stick. We had to warm up the cinnamon rolls a little bit because they were too frozen to pull apart, but now I can pull them apart, stretch them a little bit, wrap it around a stick so it's not touching itself. Cinnamon cooked on a stick with some frosting. And to wash it all down, we've got some salted caramel Stevens hot chocolate. Oh, that is really good. And the nice thing about being out in the snow is if your hot chocolate is too hot, you just add some snow to it, especially because we've got fresh snow that's coming out right now. What I also want to try is putting some cheese in a roll. So I got some really fancy Merlot cheese. I don't know if I like this cheese or not, but it looked fancy, so I'm gonna try it inside of a roll. And then we're just gonna make it kind of like a, what do you call those things? Dumpling? Ravioli? A croissant? Okay, I got my cheese in there. I'm gonna put it upside down like this in the fire. Let that cook for a few minutes. I don't know how long, we'll see. While I've got the Merlot cheese bread cooking, I'm also gonna warm up some little pieces of ham. We're gonna see how my croissant took out. Sounds hard. Now let's put it back in for a little bit longer. Done as long as I wanna wait. It's definitely got a crust on the outside. That is gonna be amazing.
I don't want to be too cheesy, but that looks very crusty.
No pun intended.
Yep.
It tastes like mozzarella bread, like stuffed crust Parmesan bread. It's so good.
Hallelujah.
Now we've got the Merlot's cheese biscuit wrapped in ham. In a snowstorm.
Wait. Where's the biscuit?
Chicken and biscuit crackers are my favorite.
This here's my igloo. It was supposed to fit all 3 of us in.
It held up pretty well, don't you think?
Yeah.
While my boys are back at the fire staying warm, I'm gonna filter some water at the creek. The really nice thing about this Katadyn filter is it's got a spout so you can drink right from it. You just need to make sure you don't have any excess water on the sides that can get in your mouth, or I can pour it into a bigger pitcher. And this squeeze bottle makes it super convenient instead of having to sit there with the old pump filters. This creek really is so pretty with all the snow around it. We are the only people up here and it is just so peaceful. Let's go back to the camp, see how the boys are doing. While they're staying warm at the fire, I'll start packing up camp. I didn't get to show our shelter very well last night because it got pretty dark. We put a bunch of sticks right here along the sides and the back, and we packed snow around it so that the tarp wouldn't come out. We just tied some paracord right here to these two aspen trees, and we put a piece all the way across it, and then we have this center long tree that was supporting everything, and then we had a couple cross members. We didn't tie them, and then we packed snow all the way around the sticks on the outsides. We had a little bit of snow that came in, but the side holes actually helped to keep the campfire smoke from staying in our tent. Overall, our sleeping bags did not get wet. Well, as one does when you're out in the snow and you bring your sleds, we're gonna try some sledding. Oh wait, would you look at that? It's snowing again. Shocker. The great thing about wearing snowshoes is it made a perfect pathway for our sleds. It was kind of hard getting up the hill, but now that the trail is blazed, we can have fun sledding. Oh, nice. Oh, God. Oh, mother puppy. Oh gosh, this is so fast. Oh. I do have to thank the YouTube channel called Outdoor Boys, because without watching Luke and all the winter camping that he does, I would not have done this. My sons and I got quite a bit of courage to be able to do this. And it's been a really cool experience. I had to reinforce this berm right here because my leg's stuck. First ones went very good. This one's gonna be much better. Kind of. Okay, bring it all the way down. That's good enough. We've learned a lot, and we've learned of what we're not going to do next time, but overall it was successful. It does take way more preparation. You have to make sure that you're up quite a bit earlier so you can get enough time to chop down a bunch of trees to make your shelter and your fire. So if you haven't tried this before, I would definitely recommend it. We're gonna get our stuff and head out. We're tired, we smell like campfire, but we've had an awesome time. Super glad we did this. I'll need a little bit of a break before I do another one, but it's totally been worth it. Now it is time to head out. One thing that made this difficult was how much effort it takes to cut down those trees and to process them by taking off all the branches and everything. Work smarter, not harder. They got their sleds so they can not have to walk so much. Almost at the top of the hill.
This has been awesome.
Okay, mother of pearl. That's a big hill. I know my wife doesn't like my beard, but it made surviving in this cold winter weather much more bearable. Guess what? It's snowing again. I am Moana. We thought the adventure was over once we got to our truck, but when we saw the 8 inches of snow in the bed of our truck, we were a little bit worried. There was about 2 feet of snow piled up from the snow plows on the right side of my truck. We had to bust out our snow shovels, dig out our tires, but within a few minutes we got out. We'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.